Hello, welcome to my review of Gurren. Gurren is an anime made by Giganax in 2007. It was directed by, for butchering of names, we'll begin now, I do apologize, but Hiroyuki Inoshina, who, following the success of Gurren, made Studio Trigger, which Studio Trigger also made such animes as Killer Kill and B and A. The rights of his anime has been under Trigger Finger since 2001. The series was written by Kazuyuki Nakashima, who funnily enough has also written for Killer Kill and B&A. The music was done by Taku Ishiki, who also did such music for such shows as Akame ga Kill and some music for an Origami series. The music is fantastic in this show. 100% props for show. The opening is 7 Days by Shoko Nakagawa, which the opening is a classic. Absolutely 10 out of 10. The endings are Underground by High Verge, Happily After After by Shoko Nakagawa, and Mina no Peace by A From Nay. None of them are bad, but I like Happily After so much more than the other two. So I just like Happily After more than the other two. The rights in English also jumped around a bit in North America, starting off with ADV Films as the rights host in the beginning, and then it jumped to Bandai Entertainment in 2008. And finally, Apex of America, aka the one company that charges you way too much for anime Blu-rays, got the rights to it in 2013 and hold it to for present day. And I would like to go over some of the voice cast before we start the review proper. I will name all words that I know the voice actors from. Starting off with Simon, he's voiced by Taiyuki Shigo, who also played Apoya and Jose in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, Kichiyoshi from Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns, and Hachwama from Naruto. Kamina is played by Katsuyuki Kanshi, who also played Ginyu in Dragon Ball Kai and Super, and Tengen from Demon Slayer. Yoko is played by Marina Une, who also played Momo in My Hero Academia. Nozawa from Hannigan, and Tagaru from Digimon Crossroads. Finally, Nia is voiced by Yukara Suki, who also voices Shinzaka in High School Vedette, and Shuko in Killer Kill. And with all that being said, let's start off with a review. Episode 1. We see a space battle in the opening, and then it cuts away to Simon, who has the job of digging to explain his underground village. Simon found a drill underground one day. We also meet Kama, who treats Simon like a brother. Kama and Simon try to break out into the surface while picking up a Pigmo friend, but the chief of the village stops them. Kama's dad made up to the surface according to Kama. Simon stayed by Kama when he got in trouble. Also, Kama helped Simon calm down during an earthquake because Simon lost his parents during an earthquake, so it's just traumatic for Simon. Simon found a robot underground. He's finding a lot of things underground. I mean, that's a good place to keep treasure. That's when a giant robot broke through the surface and comes down to the village. And a girl from the surface named Yuko is fighting the robot with a gun. Yuko is from a different underground village, and it's funny to see Kamiya's opinion of her change, where he goes like, "Oh, you're no girl from an underground village." Okay. Because he was singing her high praises when he thought she was a surface girl. The robots are called gunmen. Simon is finding the gunman that he found by using the drill as a key. Kama named Simon's gunman Lagann. Lagann can grow drills out of his body and use it to destroy the gunman. Yuko, Simon, and Kama go to the surface, and probably one of the most beautiful shots of the show is shown here, with being able to go so high they can see both the sun and the moon, which is a very nice shot. The name of the little mole pig Is it a pig mole or mole pig? Anyways, it's a cross between a mole and a pig. Near Buta, two gunmen show up after the trio crash land down the surface. I think this is a very good first episode. I feel like there's enough of a hook to get you interested in this world. I like Simon, I like Yuko. Kamiya is an interesting case for me. We were talking more about him, but this might seem a weird statement now, and I'll explain more later. I don't like Kamiya's character, but I like the concept of it. I just think he lands a bit too obnoxious for me, which I know was kind of somewhat the point of the character as we move on and talk about it more, but it just feels a little much at times. But other than that, the animation is fantastic. Like 100%. Moving on to episode 2. Simon's scared of the two gunmen, so Kama says he will handle him, but Simon saves him from being squished to death. Yoko fires some shots, Simon runs away. Lagann wants out of power, and Yoko wants out of ammo. But Yoko's friends save him. Beastmen are the ones in the gunmen fighting the humans during the day. We don't come out at night. We meet Lee Wan, or Wan for show, after Kama says thank you to Simon for doing a good job today. People might have lived on the surface in the past. Simon has a crutch on Yoko, and it causes Lagann to move. The power of feelings. Kama is having dreams of his dad leaving for the surface. And we get a gunman fight in the morning. Simon puts together that the beastman caused the earthquake that killed his parents, which causes Lagann to move. Which, they don't really touch on that again. I mean, I don't know how you would touch on it again without it being contrived. Because Simon, I mean, it still feels contrived as is. Because Simon's like, these wombos, they feel like the same wombos that killed, like, happened when my parents were killed. It's like, okay. But, like, you know, you can't attribute that to a specific person, because if you do that, that would feel super contrived. But it feels like that could be the case. But also feels like, I don't want to say stretching. Because I don't feel like they're stretching, per se, because there's a possibility. But it just feels like we need Simon to feel motivated right now. How do we do that? Okay, this. And it just feels, I don't want, again, it's not a stretch. You're not breaking logic. I guess technically Simon would never truly know if Beastman caused, his parents' death or not. And it just feels like a gut feeling that he is, in his head, thinks it's fact, kind of a thing. Kama takes control of a gunman, but I won't let him control him. Kama is able to control the gunman after having the courage to fight, even if it means death. Simon and Kama defeat the beastman. Kama named his gunman Gurren. Kama found his dad's dead body. I like this episode. Vaughn really, I don't actually have issues with this episode. I like the action of this episode a lot. I like how we're getting more of a feeling of Lagann and how that will work. And that's really kind of the basis of my liking of this episode. So, and I do like that the show also that Kama does experience this feel, but he pushes through it. So that's also a nice thing to see. Episode 3. Kama's having fun showboating about what happened last episode, while Simon's by himself. Yoko's worried about Kama after he found the body of his dead dad. Gurren gets a makeover, because you gotta make it pretty. Yoko's trying to get some time with Kama by hunting, but Kama invites Simon to come along. Kind of like, that brother of ours has to bring his little brother along type situation. While hunting, Kama comes across a beastman, though. A cool fight scene happens. Yoko and Simon with Lagann get involved. Val gets in his gunman. Kama gets in Gurren. Val is schooling Kama and Simon. Okay, so Simon basically made him and Kama survive, but it's treated as a bad thing. Go, why you want to waste Simon? It's like, Val shot a giant fucking laser beam at him. And Kama didn't want to run away, but Simon digged a tunnel save both of their lives, and then it's treated as a bad thing. It's like, you realize if Simon didn't do that, one of you would probably be dead. And it's not like he left you. He took you with him. And again, dodging is all, I hate it. It doesn't feel good. It really doesn't. Because I'm with Simon on this one. Like, I get what you're going for. Because you showed that Simon has, like, run away and stuff. But when the chips are down, he, like, pulls through. But, like, you know, this doesn't feel the correct way of doing it. It feels, again, off to me. But, Vero retreats because the sun is setting. Simon is scared, and of course, Kara doesn't really show that he may or may not be scared, but again, last episode does show that he does experience fear. You're going to pilot your Gurren instead of Simon, because again, he's too scared, even though again, they'll probably both be dead if he didn't do something about it. But Kara wants Simon because he believes in Simon. Vero shows back up and is kicking ass. Yuko got Simon, fire up, and Lagann working. Kara combines Gurren and Lagann to make Gurren Lagann.
Oh boy, I usually only get this excited when they say the title of a movie in the movie.
He didn't know that it would work like how it did, but hey, sometimes things just work out. As soon as Kara gets the upper hand, Vero runs away. One found that Gurren had data to the Beastman's base. One, Yoko, Kara, and Simon heads towards the space. This episode is okay. Again, my major problem is how they try to present Simon's feel. In this episode, I think it's very unfair to Simon. Because again, I believe that a couple of people would be dead if it wasn't for Simon in this episode. Even in his cowardly state. So, like, that's really the major knock of this episode for me, and it does detract from the enjoyment of it. But, Vero being introduced here, it's a good thing, so that kind of balances out a bit. So, there's that. And I like Kara's belief in Simon. I think that's a very good trait. Episode 4 is ugly. I think it's not good looking. Kara's face is stuck in like one emotion, and it's like this. That's how it looks like constantly. Like he's always pissed off at something for some reason. And a character named Kion, who is introduced in a bit, he has the whole Superman Justice League Season 1 thing going on with him, and he looks constantly tired. Don't know why, but he does. And he only looks like this for this one episode. This episode was animated by animation chief only did one episode of Lagann. And I hate to say you can tell, but this is the only episode that I feel like the animation stands out in a good way and looks not that great. And apparently this guy also did stuff in Naruto Shippuden, but I don't remember those episodes on top of my head because it was filler stuff. To say, like, if I like that, I forgot for Mayo's name. Technically, it's not bad, but, like, contrast that to, like, for greatness of the rest of the episodes. Yeah, this takes out, like, a sore thumb. So, I'm getting that out of the way now. I do not look at this episode, because it bugs me. And I'm glad I said that's here and editing, because I'm going to be scrubbing through this versions like why I haven't any comment about the animation. Yeah. I think the animation is solid. I guess more art style would be, because really the movement of the pictures are fine. It's more, again, I guess the art direction. And how, again, Connor's face is always stuck. And then Kian always looks tired and stuff like that. It's just not very well art style-wise, more so. But I do remember, like, the animation also not being up to par with the rest of the series. So, there's that too. But anyways, actually going over episode 4. Kara wants to train to make the combination look cool before he walks at Simon.
I throw a rock at him.
And this is one of the episodes I really don't like Kamina, because all he wants to do is make the transformation between Gurren and Lagann look cool, for no reason besides to make it look cool. And it's just obnoxious in this episode. I just really don't like this. One of the things Lagann especially, people in hoods attack a gun. You can't be hungry and pie a gunman. Who would have thought? The people in the hoods are named Kyo, Kian, Killa, and Kitten, aka the black siblings. Again, Ken is the one that looks like Superman from Justice League season 1. The Ghost Girl hunting, which is like 3 of the black siblings, and Yoko. Ken mentions that they're hunting a gunman with 16 faces. The food that the ghost brought back was an alive beastman, and the one that draws the gunman with the 16 faces by coincidence. Callan doesn't want to combine unless Simon does it the correct way by jumping. As the 16 faces combine, Lagann comes out, and Bua gives up his tail so Simon and Cameron have some feelings about it. Lagann wins the day, the black siblings leave. I don't like this episode, I think I made that clear. I just don't. I don't think this is good for Conrad's character, because it just, to me, it makes him unlikable, because it's like, oh, Simon's like, let's combine, let's fight, because like, no, we gotta do it cool. It feels like they didn't have enough for this episode, but, like, so we decided to drag this on a bit. It's like, how can we drag this on a bit? Oh yeah, Conrad wants combining to be cool. Episode 5. Because of the fire, Conrad and Yoko caused our 4 heroes to fall underground because they were arguing with each other. They fall into an underground village that worships a gunman. We meet Rochio, Gummy, and Daily. Yoko was told to cover up, so she does. Someone in the village gave birth to triplets, so they had to pick 2 people to leave the village. The high priest shows up and says don't challenge the beliefs of the villagers, which Kama is doing because he doesn't agree with it. Rochio was messing around with the face god, the cover gunman for face god, and the gang just knows now but spirits what needed to fire a gunman. They don't talk about a discovery on screen, which is a pretty big fucking discovery. It's just kind of, oh yeah, by the way, it's like, okay, cool. The high priest asked Simon the others to leave. Gummy and Derry got picked to leave the village because the population went over 50. Connor's just being addicted to a gunman shows up. The villagers don't understand what is happening, like wow, gunmen fighting. Face god is moving and beats the gunman. The high priest was one piloting him, and was sure saw it. The high priest set the population limit to 50 to save resources and made the religion up. And he also set up Daily and Gimme to get paid because they didn't have a family. Rocho is also going to the surface, and the high priest gives Rocho like the book that they use for like holy worship. And but Rocho is like, I can't leave. The high priest says, neither am I. Which I think is kind of a nice little moment of like your beliefs are whatever you want it to be. Like a book doesn't determine that. I think that's kind of nice, and that's how I kind of interpret the scene. But yes, this is another episode that I don't like Kama, and I get he disagree with how they're doing things. Kama is very much like would try to make the population going over 50 work, but that's who he is. He doesn't like the fact that they sacrifice people to make 50 people live. That's not in his nature. I get that. Cool. But they make him so obnoxious about that it's hard to like him. And I'm like, you know what? This priest guy, I mean, he's like, that's obnoxious. And what he's saying makes sense. It's not like it doesn't. You gotta keep resources in check. But like when you have a jackass trying to prove someone wrong, you don't tend to really want to agree with a jackass. Because he's really obnoxious about it. And which I get, he doesn't want like people to just be sacrificed. And I get, and I understand that. But like, if you make your character obnoxious, again, I think he's just too obnoxious about it. Rocho is the character we'll definitely talk about a lot later. Put that in a pen. Not sure if we can remove the pen. If I can't even remember to say to remove the pen, but put pen down. And then, basically, that's kind of it. I mean, I do like the episode a lot. I like the dilemma. But I would have loved this episode again if Connor wasn't such a jackass about his point of view. It would make his character more likable. It would have thought. Episode 6. To recap last episode haul. Our heroes are at the location of the gunman base. But there isn't a base there. It turns out the base moves. We discover that everyone is thinking as a gunman shop, but they cut the action, so gotta save money and animation, I guess. They chase one of the gunmen to hopefully get back to the base, but they get lost in a fog. An old man leads the team to a hot spring. The hot spring workers know who Kama is. There's an Evangelion reference, which I tried watching that when I was in middle school, but I dropped it because I thought it was too slow. I should probably give that a retry. Wilshire thinks that this is a trap where the Black Sisters show up, but siblings got there the same way Team Lagann did. And we get hot spring time. Kama wants for him and Simon to go to the moon. There's more recapping. Of course, it was a trap. Gurren was stolen. Bowman had Kama to get the Emily gunman so he and the girls can destroy the insides of the gunman. Wilshire got Gurren back, and the gunman is destroyed. Like, them destroying the gunman was so quick and rapid. It just, you feel whiplash from it. And then Vo is back. I don't like this episode. It feels like they needed a recap. Didn't have enough recap for like a full episode, so they just kind of throw in like a random plot thing, and they'll just pad it out and give the chess pieces in terms of characters in place for the next episode. And it just doesn't feel good. It feels like they might have been struggling at first, but hey, it is what it is. I mean, I have nothing more to say about this episode. Episode 7. Lagann is finding Vo, and then they learn that there's a beastman, Kappa, which the Spy King Lord Genome lives, and moving fortunes, Lagann is here to help Vo. Lagann was the point that heroes were looking for. Gurren is having trouble, but Flying Spirits want to have a weapon. Gurren used a cannon blast to get on top of Lagann. Gunman was sent after the others, but Ken shows up in a gunman, but he's still to help the gang. Daka, someone from Yoko's village, is also here to help in a gunman. Kamen refuses to run away, and now that's presented as a bad thing. When they just presented like 4 episodes ago, or running away is a bad thing. And it feels, well, I don't want to say pick one or the other, but like, it just feels, in terms of a show, contradictory, because no characters have really grown had an arc yet besides someone who's getting more confidence in fighting. Lagann fires drill bullets and to destroy the ground, trapping Lagann. I mean, more humans with gunmen show up to help. Kama wants Lagann by using Simon and Lagann. I like this episode. It's a finally action episode more than anything else. And I think it does a good job setting up Kama's unwillingness to give up on what he wants to achieve. We're gonna move on to episode 8. Simon's having trouble saying he likes Yoko to her face. Simon sees Yoko and Kama kiss, which destroys him. Kama calls the gang Team Lagann rather preemptively, and the attack dies in Gurren. Gurren can still fight back even if it's trapped in a home. Simon tries to take over Gurren, but since he's worried about Yoko and Kama, which is affecting his control of Gurren, Kama watches over to Simon and punches him, but I got Simon to refocus when Kama is saying, believe in the Kama that believes in him. Kama gets blindsided by Triumph, the owner of Gurren, and Vo joins the fun. Kama dies, which causes Simon dies and goes into lose it. Kama, who is bleeding out, he isn't dead yet, helps Simon get control of Gurren. Gurren kills I don't know how to pronounce his name. Kama dies, but saying that Simon needs to believe in himself. I like this episode. And I think it was a very good shock to have. I don't want to say good shock. A good, voting expectations. And no, I'm not gonna wail on that one movie again, because that'd be just way too repetitive. Kama's character really has, like, death happen to him, you know? So, the fact that there was a death in terms of Kama is very, again, for expectation you see, and I think it works very well. What I said earlier about I don't like Kama's character, but I like the concept of his character. We will see that more and more in the next, like, 3 episodes. How characters deal with his death. But you see that Kama is, like, the energy of the group. You see that throughout the first 8 episodes, people treat that Simon's even there. It's just Kama. And you see that Simon notices that. And the reason why he's upset about Yoko, because Yoko was the one who, like, really gave him attention besides Kama, so he developed feelings for her. And to see Kama gets that attention, more of that attention he does, even though that he thought Yoko was someone who that didn't go to Kamiya, like, you know, like, refocus to Kamiya instead of Simon, because he would be destroyed, because I want to phrase this, like, carefully, but, like, you know, you constantly see, like, Kamiya in, like, instances always get, like, goes and stuff, and, like, people always, again, focus on Kamiya and not Simon, so I think Simon was just more, like, liking that Yoko was giving him attention. And he feels like Yoko was a very kind person and treats Simon like Simon. And then, like, seeing her kiss Kama, even though it was one-sided emotions on Simon's part, he felt hurt by that. Because it was another instance of Kama getting more attention than he did. That's how I interpret that. And you see more, like, up to a certain point, for people, even after Kama's death, people treat Kama more in favor than Simon. Like, Simon's just even a second thought to Kama. But we will get to those points when we get to those points. Episode 9, we see the Spider Queen and his generals. Aileen was picked to get Lagann back. Simon's depressed because of the death of Kama, and we see how, like, the death is affecting everyone truly. Lagann is now called Gurren. Simon and Karen got in a fight, and Karen blamed Simon for Kama's death. Due to Simon's unstable emotions, it's causing Lagann to go wild and jump off the cliff with Simon in it. Simon found a case with a girl named Nina in it, who's never seen another human before. A gunman attacks Simon, but Lagann's still having troubles. Others save Nina and Simon. Nina thinks she injured her father by asking why was she born. Aileen is attacking, but Nina stops her by saying she's the daughter of the Spider King. I really like this episode. It's a good little aftermath kind of an episode, while also setting up what's to come. So it's a nice bridge. Sometimes you really do need bridges. I mean, look how smoothly the, like, moral arc went to the Granola arc and the Dragon Ball Super manga. And, like, there was no bridges between the arcs and, like, Dragon Ball Super. It's just, like, story. But anyways, episode 10. Aileen leaves. Lord Ganom tells Aileen that Nina is no longer the princess. Aileen gets a, like, second chance of defending her honor. Bill wants to go with her, but she refuses him since Firma was in her debt, and, you know, and Bill let him die 2 episodes ago. But Ken fails to get info out of Nina. Ken wants Simon to talk to Nina. Everyone explains what is happening to them, to Nina. During, like, that, Nina asks, who is Kama? And Nina says that Simon saved her all by himself. And why is he obsessing over Kama? And of course, I didn't give her a favorable response from anyone. Alan is back, and Nina gives herself up. Nina asks Alan some questions, which, like, why are you doing this? Why are you hunting humans? And, okay, you're doing this because my father said so, but if my father said to kill yourself, would you do it? And that England, and she's like, well, I'm gonna kill you, so, you know, I guess the best way is just offing your argument partner though. Simon tries to get Lagann to work but fails. Nina says the circle of hate is wrong. Simon's watching in without a gunman as everyone else has Nina. Burrow says Lagann and retreats. Simon feels bad that he couldn't do anything. I like this episode. This is setting up Simon very well. Sets up Nina as a character very well. That's all I needed to do, and it did perfectly, so. Moving on to episode 11. Gurren is the next general, and he wants Lagann. Nina's upset that Lagann is in the trash, and everyone thinks Simon should go back to his village since he does nothing but dig. Nina is spending time with Simon, actually getting to be with him, learning how he thinks, which is like the only person to do so because everyone else is like, oh, leave him alone. Oh, we don't talk to him and stuff like that. But Nina's actually trying to hang out with Simon. Team Gurren gets an SOS from some ghosts and it's a trap. Everyone is captured. Nina gets put away to see Gurren. She tells Simon to be himself. Lord Juno is having babies in front of him out like dolls. That's terrible. Just, keep producing them and just keep throwing them out just like a Barbie doll. The ghosts from the SOS would become a doll just like Nina. Because as we're getting sent to the Spiral King. Simon is singing his way out of the cell when everyone else had given up, causing Lagann to work again. Nina is about to be killed for not doing what she was told by Gurren, but the old man comes in for the save, and so does Simon. Gurren got his gunman. Simon realized he doesn't have to be his bro, and Nina realized the opponents in believing in oaths, which I think that's like a good lesson per se, because it's like, don't be over dependent on someone, but also like it's good to have faith in others. There's a balance between the two that you should strike. I like that a lot. And then Simon destroys Gurren's gunman, but he still lives. Nina buries all the past princesses. Simon gives Nina a green walkie as a gift. I really like this episode. It feels like a nice culmination of Nina's and Simon's arcs over the past few episodes, and it feels like it had a good payoff. Moving on to episode 12. We got a beach episode. It would take time for Gurren to be upgraded to become water-based. Yoko's shadows of Nina, and Nina is being called like everything that they do. Gurren is not able to go into water. We had to have some beach activities before we can move on with the plot. Team Gurren have been attacked by alien. We hope that Lagann is waterproof, because we haven't tried this before. We just hope. We plan on dragging Gurren. Nina believes in Simon to save the day. Lagann saves Gurren. Alien takes Nina hostage, and Yuko shoots Nina's hair to do damage to Alan and saves Nina. Alan gets killed. Nina asks Yoko to cut her hair. Nina says that she has faith in Yoko to do it. I like this episode because Yoko wasn't fully sure of Nina yet. And this shows Nina's growth in believing in others. So it's a nice combination. Episode 13. Simon likes Nina's new hairstyle. Nina wants to be put to work, so Nina cooks. Woodrow is sick, but they don't know what's wrong. The next commando, and the last one, Sartomando, is attacking in the sky. Yoko is taking over Wodrow's spot in Gurren. Team Gurren is having trouble with the air-based enemies. Lagann gains new wings by taking over an enemy gunman. Burrow is here and finds out that Kamera has passed. Yoko got hope, so she's out of the fight. Burrow and Simon are destroying the spears that keeps the air base in the air while the fight. Burrow doesn't want to win with Yoko as a hostage. Gurren damaged the air base by jump kicking, and also stole one of the flotation spheres. Lagann was able to escape with Yoko. Nina's food was what made Yoko sick. Simon's the only one who likes her food. Burrow was brought before the Spiral King for disobeying orders, and he asks, are humans truly inferior? The episode ends with Lord Juno tells Burrow what a human is. This episode is okay. I don't like that Yoko gets to join in the fun just to be taken out, basically. That's kind of like my main gripe of this episode, but like, other than that, this is a fine episode. Just mostly like a fun little action piece and then something a little more meat on it towards the end with Rose Caldo. So this episode's just okay. Episode 14. Seems like the final battle is here. Humans have something called Spire Power. We don't know what that is yet, but it'll be explained later. And we see that everyone can fly now. Gurren is being attacked from both the sky and ground. Lagann stays in the skies for all gunmen find the ground. Lagann is a great 1-minute army until it got caught. Friends come to save the day, like all random humans that we don't give the name of. Most of them die anyways, so. Gurren kills Salamander by using the capital to spin. Juno makes a powerful attack. The reinforcements kill themselves, and because we were just ramming this attack, because I mean it was an idea. It wasn't a good idea, but it was an idea.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
And Nina stopped the rest of them from doing the same stupid thing. Lagann attacks from underneath, which stops the spinning and kills Gurren. And the capital is one giant ass gunman. This episode is good. It's just basically an action piece. Which, hey, action is cool. And sometimes you just need some action, man. And some cool action at that. So this episode's good. All the generals are now dead. And I have, no oppression of them. The only thing I have to say is, Annie's, gunman has a talking vagina. That's what the mouth is. Oh, and the eyes of the boobs. Other than that, it don't leave any impression at all. It's just that one gunman. Episode 15. There's the same singer as Lagann coming from the capital. I hear the Lagann. I butcher that every single time. But for the first time, Lagann is having trouble with the giant capital gunman. Nina wants Simon to take her to her father. Here comes the Beastman army. With the help of Gurren was able to get in the Spiral King's throne room. Gurren blows herself up to do damage to the giant gunman, but everyone's safe. No one died. Because Vera's here, the Spiral King gave Vera a boy that can't die so he can be a storyteller. Lord General says he's protecting humans and gets in his gunman. Lagann is on even grounds with Lord General. Simon tries and fails to take over the Spiral King's gunman. The Spiral King gets out of his gunman and starts fucking up Gurren. Simon kills Lord General with his drill key. Spiral King says once there's 1 million humans, a message from hell will come from the moon. This episode's great. It's a nice little final battle type stuff and leaves off a little bit cliffhanger. Episode 16. It's a recap. And you know what that means when recaps happen. I grind my dog con. So that was nice. But moving on to episode 17. 7 years later, Comet City was built. Simon's now the Supreme Commander. That's not suspicious. Any form of government position with the name Supreme in it. Virtual is his second command. They're probing the moon to check out the Spiral King's dying words were true. Virtual took the job of counting humans from the twin Keldos. Daika is having a baby with Kyo. Simon asked Nina to marry him, but she said no because she didn't understand marriage. Goku move. But after talking to 2 of her black sisters, Nina says yes to Simon. Yoko is somewhere else because she didn't think she'd be cut out for politics. Vera is causing trouble and was beaten by Gummy and Derry. Virtual is forcing people to leave the underground village so they can count. Kura and her baby had her baby, and it's the doomsday baby. That's the millionth human. Nina disappeared. The build gunmen based on Lagann, which have no effect on the new enemy. Simon beats family instead of listening to Virtual to try and capture it. When it's destroyed, it causes explosions. Nina shows up to the world to say she's an anti-spy messenger and that the end is nigh. I like this episode. I like the time skip idea, and I'm saving a lot of analysis for later because really I feel like the core of what makes this show great is later on. So I'm kind of okay, this is what happens in this episode, this is what happens in this episode, this is what happens in this episode, and I'm probably really gonna talk about it a lot more. Definitely towards the end. So bear with me a bit. We will get to why this show's so good and beloved. Episode 18. Everyone in the city is complaining about damages from the fight that happened before, and what Nina said. Wilshire has the Spy King's hand ajar and now has a computer. Gummy and Derry are wondering if Simon wants times to change. As he looks for Nina, Nina shows up in front of Simon and says the anti-spy is here to stop the spy nemesis. Lord General says the spy power is the power to evolve. The Spy King fought the anti-spies in the past and lost. The anti-spies had a doomsday clock that goes off when the population hits 1 million. The Spy King said it feels the only thing that could control the humans to stay underground. In 3 weeks the moon would crash. Nina said everything on TV. And Wilshire acted like he could have stopped that. He goes like, oh shoot, I'm too late. You literally just heard this from the Spy King. There was no time. They can shoot down the explosive parts after the enemy mech is destroyed in that world. Everyone is mad at Simon, and Wilshire is advising Simon to calm down for people. This episode's great. I really like it. This is like more of a style of Wilshire's character arc. Well, I guess it really started last episode with the time skip. But we really get to see more and more of who these characters are and exploring their mindsets. But moving on to episode 19, people really just blaming everything on Simon. Simon's going to be put to trial. Wilshire thinks Simon's acting like Cameron in the old days. Takes his cold drill. Simon thinks Wilshire is acting like the priest from his village. One thinks spinning is how to beat the new enemy. Wilshire is going to force most people underground to survive the moon crashing. Lord General has a trump card underground. Someone's given an unfair trial and was given the death penalty. Wilshire is the new supreme commander. Nina shows up to say that death and despair is coming for all as a bunch of enemies are attacking. Simon wants to take Gurren Lagann to fire, so Wilshire puts a bomb in it. So if Simon wants, he blows up with Kinnon is with him too. So basically, so they can put him to death officially. So the Western civilization can't go underground or going into space. That's like the trump card the Spy King left. Gurren Lagann is putting in the work until it doesn't. But non-Gurren Laganns now have weapons for their enemies. Gurren Lagann will be scrapped and Simon is sent to prison. Ken says that his sister was a human ball. Simon gets the same style as the... I like this episode. This episode is good. Again, this is... Like, everything is building up to, like, a point, and we've reached that point soon enough, but it does a good job of being suspense. Episode 20, we have 10 days before the moon falls as people are getting into showers. Simon gets attacked by, like, a bold beast man, but Vo helps so he can fight Simon. Simon and Vo get in trouble for fighting. They have to equip the head of Genome to the Gurren, the spaceship, to make it fly. Ken realizes that something is wrong since elements are being learned for Gurren, and learns that they had to live in space for the year due to the moon falling. If the people on the ground will die, and they don't want to waste all of humanity by trying to destroy the moon. Kitten tries to get his family on the Gurren, but doesn't have a heart to tell them what's really going on when more enemies attack. And I like how the instant more enemies attack, the very fucking instant, the damage to the city is a lot more than what Simon had caused. Anyways, again, we get more to that in a bit, but like, they did so much damage, and think about it, like how much took 2 episodes to figure out spinning was the way to defeat these enemies. Think how much fucking damage they would have done. Because of all I think that did damage was Gurren Lagann, and by weighing and trying to figure things out, you guys would be fucked. And shows Simon didn't think it out and didn't know what was gonna happen. But I think it was Simon's efforts along with, Juan being like, okay, this is how Simon did, was able to figure out, okay, new weapons is how we do this safely. So, like, without Simon, like, the city would be destroyed, probably a lot more death. But, it just, the mistake was a big one to get to that point. So, yes, but, like, Simon was ultimately a key figure in figuring out how to defeat these guys. Keaton's firing with a gun against the enemy to have his family escape. When a gunman comes and saves him, Kieran got his own gunman back that's supposed to be scrap. Richard is making the arc gun leave in 5 minutes and doesn't care who gets left behind. Ken gets the code drill from Richard. Nina shows up to tell Simon that Richard is fucked, and Yoko shows up. I like this episode a lot. Again, the pieces are starting to fall more in place about, again, what I think this show is trying to say. And again, we'll get to that more in a bit. Episode 21, Space, has just all vanities, a shit ton of vanities. Flashback time, we see a kid getting bullied and Yoko helped him. Yoko is now a TILF. The principal knows who Yoko is, but Yoko pretends that isn't her. Yoko, being a teacher, just warms my heart. She's such a good teacher. The bullied kid has a friend that is a girl that likes him. Someone put the bullied kid's bag behind the tree. That's all he has to remember his late dad by, so he goes climb the tree. The bullied kid got his backpack. Yoko goes after the kid and tells him about a team going. And they have the same scene as when Simon and Conrad first escaped from the village. The bullied kid earns respect with the other kids. Yoko sees Nina's TV message. The island's doing the whole "we gotta leave," but the girl is missing when the gunmen attack and take her hostage. The gunmen want food for exchange for the girl's life. Yoko shows why it's a shame that she doesn't get more action scenes. The girl says it was her that put the boys back in the tree because she liked him, and the kids made up. Back to present day, Yoko saves Simon. Simon says Ro. Simon meets up with everyone. Simon wants Ro to help him power Gurren Lagann as everyone gets shot into space. It's looking hopeless until the gang shows up. I like this episode. I think it was necessary to show what Yoko was doing. And it was just nice to see. And the ending is more leaning into, again, what's going to happen next episode. Episode 22. The anti-spy on the moon with a laser beam. What else were you going to do with the moon? The team Lagann is giving people hope on the arc going. When you destroy a laser and just have more pop out on it. Gurren Lagann destroys all the moon lasers as Spy King says go to the moon. Arc Gurren and Gurren Lagann are being shocked by the enemy. Gurren Lagann move the shock field. I don't know what else to call it. It's the first field, but it's shocking you. It's a shock field. Into Arc Gurren's, and that caused Gurren Lagann and Arc Gurren to combine, so now we have Arc Gurren Lagann. They literally broke space and time when they destroy the last enemy. The moon is a gunman called Celestial Terror, and it has a Death Star layout. You gotta go into the center, like in Return of the Jedi. Simon has to put his drill in the center. Virtual says they'll remove the arc gun, which is currently slowing down the moon. If Simon doesn't do it in 5 minutes, Nina stops Gurren Lagann. But Simon got through to Nina by saying Nina wanted Simon to help her the whole time, and that causes her to move. The moon transforms into a big ship and gets put back into orbit. Simon promised to chase after Nina. I like this episode. Okay, one more episode event. I get to explain a lot more. But I like the fine space. It's very good and very actiony. So that gets a thumbs up for me. Episode 23, Bird joins the squad. But anti-spies would just spy life forms, so things like spy energy would destroy the universe. Beastmen can't have spy energy, so they can't have children, but they can power gunmen and do all the stuff with spy energy, but whatever. They're scanning the serial data for information of where the spy home is. Richard goes back to his old village when he meets the priest. Richard hands back the holy book and says it's just nonsense wearing them, which causes both of them to laugh. The priest thinks that Richard did a good job. Richard was upset that he sentenced Simon to death, which feels like a very much a Merge the Masu moment when Vegito points out, it's hey, you're all about godhood modes are bad. Better look where you are. You couldn't do your plan without reaching for Goku's body. And he's like, starts crying. It's like, yes, this is the sacrifice I did. And it feels like that, a bit self-righteousness-y, but that's what it reminds me of. It probably doesn't help, but Dokkan currently is doing a future celebration for worldwide download, so my mind's on most of the Monsoon Vegeta. But anyways, Ultra was gonna kill himself over the fact that he almost left most of the Earth to die. Simon can use bioenergy to teleport to Ultra, and the same Nakamura did to him. Simon punches Ultra and says, "Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has those days." And to fight to grow stronger, they found the anti-spiral hormone. They found the real moon so they can replace the Citadel Terror as the Earth's moon and takes Terror with them. The Omen gives Simon Team Dagon's flag. I like this episode a lot. Now I can really talk about all of us building up to this point. I think why Ultra failed is because he gave up his goals as time goes on. He wasn't. At first he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna save humanity. Oh, I'm just gonna save the humanity I can fit in the ship. Oh well, we're fucked. So I'm gonna leave more humans behind." And then he kept giving up on his goal. Look at Kamera, and this is what I mean. I like the idea of him a lot more. Sure, he was obnoxious, but he died trying to get the Dying Gozen. That was his goal. He gave up his life for his goal. And without the Dying Gozen, Team Dying Gurren would not get to where they are. They need that thing. They know, or not giving up on what you set out to do is very important. And Ultra also has tried to take on all responsibility by himself by stripping away stuff from other people and not trying to figure out a way with others. Other members, he just used for other members of basically fragments of a past. Well, it's important to grow involved. It's also important not to forget about the past. Because again, by Simon not helping you, they would have been screwed. And you see that by Ultra taking on all the responsibilities by himself, he got overwhelmed and over his head. But when everyone came in and worked together, that's when they were able to just destroy the enemy. So I think that's what Going Gone is kind of about, is never giving up on what you set on to do, even if the consequences may be heavy, and to always believe in others. A heavy amount, but always believe in others. Episode 24. Team Gurren teleports to the anti-spiral home world. Nina is a giant and naked in space. The anti-spirals are studying Nina's body for information about humans, and they use a fake Nina to mess with Team Gurren's teleportations. The fighting begins. A fun action scene one time. Team Gurren gets new gunmen that the old gunmen can pilot. So they transform the Super Galaxy Gurren, formerly known as the Citadel Terror, into his human foe. They get more power. Of course, Simon's the only one who can do this. Veroni was fake being weak and killed one of the OG members of Gurren. 2 more members by for dust. Darius gunman basically is destroying one, saving Super Galaxy Gurren. Another member died protecting the ship from Melissa. The twins saved Diane and Gummy from being killed by sacrificing their lives. Super Galaxy Gurren was about to transform, but it gets sucked into a space sea. I love this episode. This episode does the whole everyone dying thing a lot better than, say, Chainsaw Man. Because even though the characters that have died, those characters really didn't get known, but they were always there. They always were part of the team. And they always were able to pull through. And the fact that so many of them died so quickly and got overwhelmed, it gives you a more despair feeling than any Danganronpa game ever gave me. So, Monokuma, you've been at class. Anyways, moving on to episode 25. So it receives just super dense space called Depth's spiral field that absorbs spiral energy and like turns it into mass. And then it's like sea being crushed by the pressure the further you go. Enemies are pushing down the game, so Simon tries to move the ship up. Ken says to Derry you have to move forward even if you scale. And the twins save them because they wanted to save them. Yoko and Ken are fighting the enemies. Gummy and Derry show up to help. There's a general making like the space sea. The spaceship is heading towards the general as Boo awakens his spiral energy. Super Galaxy died and Gurren is taking on space. A drill broke off when Simon is pushing himself so hard. Buta gives Simon help with spiral energy. The spaceship failed to destroy the general due to the high pressure, destroying the missiles. Ken kisses Yoko as he gets one of the missiles on his gunman. He watches towards the general, killing himself while destroying the general. How the animated... First of all, this show again is mostly animated beautifully besides episode 4. But how they like manage like things being crushed by pressure is fantastic. The Super Galaxy Lagann gets all the spiral energy and was able to transform. I like this episode. This episode is good. I like Ken's character arc. He like develops a question Yoko and probably wants to be with her. But again, this goes back to doing what you set out to do no matter the consequences. Like Ken probably knew he was gonna get killed, but that's why he stopped Yoko from doing it. But he knows it needed to be done for the mission to be successful, so he gave up his life. And I really like that character arc for him. So, episode 26. Super Galaxy Gurren Lagann, of course, is powerful. Like, when flying planets isn't enough to take down Super Galaxy Gurren Lagann.
I threw a rock at him. It was a big rock.
Anti-Spiral shows everyone how spiral energy destroys everything by evolving so much it becomes a black hole. Simon says he will protect everyone. Super Galaxy Gurren Lagann can shoot through time-space. We get Batman Arkham Asylum, but now Simon and Kama are thieves. Yoko's a bounty hunter. The Spy King and Buta are the only ones not trapped in a different timeline like the others are. Buta became human thanks to spiral energy. Just because we had to get that scene from the first episode when Buta becomes human, or is a human, you see it, we gotta make that true, because Buta becomes back to a pig mode after this episode. It's pointless, it really is. Buta and the Spy King are now trapped in different timelines. Simon sees a version of the real Kama, and that freed him. Everyone else gets free. Simon teleports to Nia. I like this episode. Again, this proves that I really like the idea of I really like Kama as a concept. Because, honestly, we only see Kama interacting with Yoko and Simon, but those are like my two favorite interactions that dude had with anyone. Even though, again, I made it clear I don't really like Kama as a person. Like, Kama, like, reacting to how much Simon has grown, where he pulls up heartstrings. And we see that, of course, all Simon wants is to be with, like, Kama again. But it's never gonna be true again. And Simon has to fight forward. Yoko wants to settle down and get married, but the two people that she loved died fighting, and she has to continue to move forward. Vero wants to have kids, but he can't. He has to continue to move forward. So again, I really like this episode. Episode 27. This is the final episode. Nina was always an anti-spiral messenger. Simon saves Nina. Gurren Lagann has evolved again. Gurren Lagann is basically like if Goku went Super Saiyan and then jumped to Ultra Instinct. Like, get all the forms in between at this point. Buta's back to being a pig mode. Giant Mech Fight. Go! When they have the power to create everything, like anything, like Yoko's sniper or like those like blades. The anti-spiral home was in the mech's head. When he just fought galaxies, Vantage Brothers think Spiral films have gone drunk on their own power. There's now a tear in space-time thanks to the fight that shows like the planet Earth. When you put two galaxies together to make a Big Bang attack, which Journos saves the group from and uses that energy to turn into a drill. It's also hinted if the anti-spiral dies, so does Nina. Simon destroys the anti-spiral. All spiral races are happy that Simon won. Simon and Nina got married, but as soon as they kiss, Nina died, which again goes back to the whole fighting for what you believe in, no matter what the consequences are. Simon wanders off as he gets Gummy the king to Gurren. We see everyone 20 years later. We see Simon's just wandering about as a digger. Yoko's still Tills, though being captain of like a fleet, which will be becoming the supreme commander. And we see that Rocho has the face of a priest, and like back in the episode where we first met Rocho, the priest sent off his mother. And I think theory time that the priest sent off Rocho's mother because he had a baby with her, and to keep the holy image and the belief, he sent off his mother to die. To keep up his holy image, he sent off his mother to die. I like this episode. I think this was a very good final episode of Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann is a very great show, and it's animated beautifully. I mean, there's some things I don't like about it, but like overall, it's a fantastic fucking show, and I would give it like a 9 out of 10. So, that's the review. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. And hit that subscribe button if you want to see more for us reviews. And I will catch y'all next time. Bye.